Well, well. Back with the if you said the title, the brutal honesty about FSU football. I'm going to be brutally honest, but I'm going to make a promise to not get personal. 7 years ago, I kind of did that. I don't think I wasn't like insulting, but I did get a little personal, and I remember regretting it a lot. Uh, that day and the day after, I had people say to me, "Man, you really went a little far," and that was before I was even live streaming. I just wrote an opinion on Facebook. So, if you're looking for me to be insulting or rude or just disrespectful to players and coaches, this isn't the live stream for you. But if you want someone who's going to be brutally honest, respectfully, then this is the live stream for you. I'm not going to be talking music today. I'm not going to be talking about an upcoming travel vlog. Maybe, I don't know, but probably not. I'm just going to say what I've seen about Florida State football, what I'd like to see happen. I'm not talking wins. Of course, we want to see wins, um, but what I've seen and what I think is a reason behind it. Um, and I'm not going to get into the X's and O's. I could talk about, yeah, both our starting tackles were out yesterday, and obviously the offensive line hasn't been good this year. But you know what? There's a whole lot more than that. And the sad part is I'm starting to think, actually, I'm not starting to think, it's there. It's more than just the team not playing well in the field. I wish that was it, because then you could correct those problems, or at least you have a shot at it. When there's so much more, I think, going on behind the scenes and on the field, this is not just a short term, this year problem. This is a long term problem. Now, am I going to have to be critical of Mike Norvell here? Yeah, I have to be. I'm gonna do it respectfully, and I'm really. I know I keep saying that is because I truly don't want to cross the line. Vince, what's up, buddy? Let's get you up here. Lots of issues. You got that right, man. So true. And by the way, I just watched your stream. You guys were awesome. Um, so yeah, lots of issues across the board. I think it's behind the scenes. First game I wrote as a mulligan, and I don't think anyone said this is. We had so many returning players that I think in that game they were so used to from the year and two before. Jordan Travis just somehow bailing us out, and it was like they looked for that, it wasn't there, and we just came up short. I get it, but this reminds me of 2017 with Jimbo's last year. I think you have a coaching staff that's been there almost too long as a group, has gotten nothing but raises, and they're complacent, and that's trickled to the team. One thing, I'm really getting tired of hearing about the whole transfer portal thing, is because we praised him for that. That's what got us back to where we were. Or, oh, he just picked wrong. If our coaching staff was still as demanding as they should be from the top down, I don't think that's a problem. I really don't. Because you got 5 stars who were kids were 5 stars we were dreaming of getting 2 years ago on a few of them. Some kids where I said, oh man, this shows what we're doing now. So that's frustrating. I think Mike overevaluated this team big time. All we kept hearing about was the running game and the offensive line. Offensive line has not shown any improvement in 5 years. That's a fact. Um, I blame the coaching. I absolutely do. There's something to be said about not being able to line up properly. That has nothing to do with Alex Atkins not being there yesterday and the 2 games before. He's at every practice. He recruited these kids. He's at every walkthrough, every meeting. So I don't get it. I think there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes where Mike got a little more power, which was negotiated. He bullied the administration into that. And hey, that's negotiation 101. I don't blame him for that. We were going to lose him to Bama, maybe. Maybe I say now. And we had to give him that stuff. So I think maybe he gave a little extra power to other people who aren't holding their end of the stick. Yesterday it came out that Derek Ray, it came out, one of the media guys, I'm going to say it because he posted it on Twitter, Josh Newberg came right out and said he blamed Derek Ray for a lot of stuff, for mismanaging NIL money, for not handling the transfer portal well, for a lot of that. And it shows it. Something isn't right there. I I did think the defense did play with more intensity yesterday, more effort. But they're not the kind of defense that's going to hold you for 4 quarters. Offense has to do something at some point. And I was not even calling for DJ to not start yesterday. I wasn't at that point yet because I said, man, I'm thinking down the line, if Mike ever wants to get another transfer portal quarterback and that quarterback says, he only gave us 2 years, 2 games. Why would I risk my last year with you guys? So I understood that. I wasn't even thinking about the NIL money part. That's not my business. And the reason I say it's not my business, yeah, I know they're getting paid, but it's not like they reveal how much they're getting paid and what the contract is. It's not like the NFL where they're getting X dollars over X time. So it's just under the table stuff. It really is until we get a little more clarification on it. So I was so excited about Norvell and this team going into the year because I was so big on the culture. I said, I don't care who we bring in. You're not here unless you want to be here. Forget about the money part because they can get money anywhere. And you understand what it takes because the Jared Verses, the Jermaine Johnsons, the Trey Bensons, the Keon Colemans, the Jordan Travises of the world all set the standard for what it's supposed to be under this coaching staff. So where's the issue now? Everyone wants to blame players for not doing their job, and I understand that, and especially getting paid now. You are more accountable for that, but it starts at the top. I always believe everything starts at the top. I've seen sides of Mike this year I have not seen his entire time at Florida State, and I watched him go 0-4 in year 2, and he still kept his not even his wits about him. He still kept his beliefs about him. He still kept the vision. He still kept being positive. I haven't seen anything positive from him lately. And I don't want to criticize the media for overhyping this team, but you did. But it's not your fault they're losing. I get it. But it's also a special relationship between Norvell and the media because he allows access, full access. And if you're a media member, you crave that. So they don't want to upset the apple cart there. And I guess that's business. I understand. I don't really see it that way because I think you're paid for your opinion and you got to be honest. And they're still treading very carefully there. And they didn't with Jimbo at the end, and they obviously didn't with Willie. Even in the end of the Bowden years, they were really hard on him. So I don't want to see Mike get a pass there. And I don't think he's asking for a pass. I think that's just the culture that's been created. I'm tired of that culture. I don't care if you have access. Be honest. Ask him a hard question. Ask him, say, why do you still start DJ after this week? Are you starting Brock Glenn or not? Why was Shaheem Brown out? If he gets coach speak and doesn't really answer it, so what? At least you ask the hard questions. That's what we rely on the local beat media for. You're not there to be their friend. So that upsets me a little. I understand there's politics behind the scene, and I'm sure if I talked to a media guy, he would put it in terms for me that makes me understand a little clearer. I guess I was raised where you ask a hard question, you get a hard answer. And I haven't seen that lately. A couple of the guys do, but we're not seeing it. I don't want to hear him practice every day when he does his interview. Oh, we look good in the situational drill today. What's the point? Doesn't matter. Now, what people are really forgetting about is we brought in some good freshmen last year. Norvell's not even playing freshmen. I know we played Ken Davis a little bit, but he's not even doing that. He's not even selling the current players on, hey, man, I'm counting on you now because look, we're struggling. So we're not even giving incentive to those guys to stay and be part of the solution. No one's talking about that. Now, I'm not saying play a guy who's not ready yet, but all fall camp I heard about LaWayne McCoy and Elijah Moore. Sorry, the weather got really bad here. LaWayne McCoy, Elijah Moore. Those were guys that I kept hearing, man, these guys can be difference makers. They don't play in the first game. Okay, you chalk it up to first game. I don't want to say because it was in Ireland because I really don't want to hear that excuse anymore. I don't care the game was in Ireland. I really don't. Georgia Tech came the same distance. But I did hear certain people make excuses for that trip, not from FSU football side of it from the media side, and I thought that was ridiculous, especially when you're getting paid now. So why aren't they getting a shot? I know McCoy returned some punts yesterday and muffed one, but it's not like our receivers have been playing so good that you can justify them on the bench. If I'm Elijah Moore, I'm saying, why am I not at Ohio State? I could be there learning from the best right now, and that's the truth. Florida State really has not put many receivers in the NFL lately. So you're not giving your current roster incentives to stay. You're talking about, man, our recruiting needs to improve. Well, great. If our recruiting does improve, but we don't keep a current roster, where does that leave us? And guess what? The transfer portal is not what it used to be either. A lot of teams have caught up to us there. They figured it out as well. NIL is obviously a factor as well. So you're not just going to be able to go in and pluck the talent that you did, even if you were winning. I remember after the spring, a lot of guys we thought we were going to get, we didn't get for whatever reason. So portal's not going to be as plentiful for us, not just because of the losing, because other schools have embraced it just like we did. We were the first ones to really embrace it, where other schools were like, no, maybe one guy, two guys. Yeah, I'm looking at once Georgia, Texas, Ohio State really embraced it. We knew we had to not just pivot, but not rely on that as heavily. And yeah, I'm hearing all about the Pete. What's up, buddy? Pete's gonna give the hard stuff here. Let me get Pete up here. Drop balls. OL is trying their hardest, but they're sending more than when we have to block. You run vertical routes downfield, and we don't have time to throw it. It doesn't make sense. Unfortunate. Yeah, that's the thing. Is other than the Keziah Holmes play yesterday, Pete. Thanks for showing up, buddy. I appreciate it, man. Everyone in here now. Thank you. The play calling has been atrocious too. I understand the Keziah Holmes play. We hit that yesterday. It goes for at least a 30, 40-yard gainer, probably a touchdown. There was nobody there. I don't understand it. I don't get where Mike's thinking. The one time, and I was saying this to people at the sports bar I was at, you let DJ rip one, beautiful 50-yard completion to Benson. You couldn't do that all year. I understand it was a little windy in Ireland, whatever. Boston College didn't even try to do that. Take some shots vertically, especially when you're not running the ball, because if you can complete the vertical stuff, it will eventually open up the run. Vince with another excellent point. Even when the play seemed correct, something fouls it up. Absolutely. First game, if I told you going into the game we'd only have 0 turnovers in the game, 1 penalty, you'd have been like, okay, it's a weird game. And that's what every game we're getting worse and worse. We're just regressing. So what's going on in practice during the week? Off a bye week, we played this bad against Memphis. Everyone talked about, well, Silverfeld knew Norvell. He spent time in the meeting room with him. He's been groomed by Mike. Yeah. And Mike knows him too. So I don't want to hear that excuse. I don't. I don't think Memphis is a bad team. I think they're as good or better than maybe the Georgia Tech. But you can't even line up straight on a punt. That gave Memphis a easy 4th down call to go for it. What I want to know is, and we never will know, I understand, but in any walk of life, the CEO, if they see all their people below them screwing up or everything going bad, that person responsible for it is called in their office and say, why is this happening? What are we going to do to fix this? And that's what I am curious about. Pete, again, DJ came from a school that was number 1 in the country for scoring in the red zone. Yep. You're talking about Oregon State or Clemson. Either way, yeah. He had a solid running game with Martinez last year because we're seeing what he's doing at Miami. But I think Jonathan Smith worked around his deficiencies a lot better than Mike has. I think Mike is busy grooming Tony Tokers to be his heir apparent. Vince gotta get into the red zone first. Lots of undersplit. Yeah, I don't get it. The claps by DJ. I don't understand this stuff. I thought he was in good hands with Mike. I really did. Chris from Perry, what up, buddy? Um, Vince got to get in the red zone first. Yeah, tell me about it. I never thought I'd see a day where I'm so angry watching other games because that I'm watching teams just complete a forward pass with a guy who was a 5-star quarterback out of high school, rated right up there with C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young, who's a good kid, nice kid. I have nothing bad to say about DJ. I still thank his dad for appearing on my vlog in Dublin. I met DJ at the spring game weekend, and he was just beyond nice. All he had to do was take a picture with me and be nice real quick, but he didn't. He sat and chatted with me for about 5 minutes. He came running over to make sure I got a picture with Solo. Solo, that's the wrestler. Uh, Lola Haney. So I had nothing bad to say about him, but just it's not working. And it's your job as a coach to play the nice guy. Now, I'm more concerned not about Brock playing, is about upsetting the apple cart and costing you Luke Kromenhoek. I think he's your most talented quarterback, especially since you've been here. And I don't want to lose. Let me put up Chris from Perry's comment. I don't want to upset Luke. Rod Orr, Jalen Early, Andre Otto, Julian Romero, Quayshawn Sapp, Lucas Simmons, all players weren't, and we were saying all these tough. Exactly. They wouldn't be. I don't understand why you haven't played some of them. Obviously, Sapp is gone. Rod Orr, yeah. Early has struggled, but at least he's got it in the game. Otto, I heard nothing but great things about in fall camp. Let me fix this up a little. There we go. Otto, I heard nothing but great things about. Armella, I'll never understand what the problem is. If the guys in front of you were playing so bad, you owe it to yourself to put in the other guys. That being said, you want to five guys in the line. I get it. We have had no explanation as to why Jeremiah Byers has been out, and I understand gamesmanship, and I understand you don't want to tell your opponent that, but at some point we deserve to know. I haven't seen development in 5 years with Atkins. That's it. The best lineman he's produced was a guy who was pretty much a ready-made player with Dylan Gibbons. That's it. I think we overhyped Atkins more than any coach on the staff because I haven't seen any development. I can't even see them get lined up properly. You brought in TJ Ferguson and Richie Leonard. Richie Leonard was the best lineman in Florida last year on a team that ran the ball really well. And this year he's getting pushed around. So at some point, do we need to get physical in practice and not run these simple schemes that don't prepare us for running teams? People haven't talked about that. We're not physical in practice because our scheme is more of a 3-3-5, no 3-2-5 or wait, I'm sorry, 4-2-5, whatever it is. 4-2-5, yeah. So it doesn't get us ready for a team that's gonna, run up the middle on us because we're not physical in practice. Vince, you are bringing your A game today. Thank you, man. Just like you always do. So, Christian Perry, thank you for saying that. Development's the number one thing in recruiting, along with relationships, and we haven't proven that. And Atkins hasn't done that. Best players play right. Yeah. But you know what? You also owe it to your young players to play them now to tell them, hey, we need you to help turn this season around, and we need you for next year. Because you think other schools aren't going to call them and say, come play for us where you can win and play? Florida State doesn't play freshmen. We have not seen a freshman come in and make a serious impact under Norvell. And that was something that frustrated me so much under Jimbo. Unless it was a Dalvin Cook freak, we didn't really see it. Jameis didn't even play as a freshman. I get why, quarterback, whatever. But we never had a true freshman receiver under Jimbo make plays. And I watch it every weekend on so many teams. I don't understand it. And at this point, I open it up to Luke in practice too. Why not? I'm watching freshmen, true freshmen around the country play well and help their not screw it up for their team, but be effective. I'm the kid from Texas A&M yesterday never played a snap. We're already losing, so it doesn't matter. Absolutely. And guess what? You send them like I was there in the Bowden years. I didn't play, obviously, but I was so lucky I got to be around the guys and hear them. And all the young guys who were always chomping at the bit to play, they never argued about I'm talking about young guys, first, second year guys. They never argued about not being out there if they just had a stud in front of them who was a veteran and deserved to be out there. But you would quietly hear and respectfully, if a guy wasn't getting their job done, they would be like, I need to be out there immediately. And this is before the transfer portal, is before NIL. I couldn't imagine that time with that stuff. But you would hear them. They wouldn't even really say it. They'd give you a look like, oh, yeah, I didn't play today and I should have. I don't know if that's the case going on now, but you knew they were gonna end up playing, and you always knew, man, as soon as this guy switches into the spot, it's a wrap. Like when Derwin James, uh, yes, please, like the stream, like Vince says, and as to steal Vince's line, it's free. Um, uh, when Derwin James took Nate Andrews' spot, which we were begging for. Nothing against Nate Andrews, good player. Led the team in interceptions as a true freshman. You just knew Derwin was that generational talent that needed to play. You knew it was a wrap, and that was gonna be him. Now I'm not saying we have a Derwin James back there, but I haven't seen certain guys play. And the secondary played okay yesterday, but you're not giving Charles Lester a reason. Do I think Pete? Yes, yesterday was the sign of it. His pride has gotten in the way. He doesn't want to admit he's made mistakes with his coaching staff, and he can't say it publicly. But when they've gotten raises every year for lack of production, especially this year, yes, his pride has gotten in the way. And honestly, I'm gonna be honest here. I think he really started to feel himself this offseason. Alabama wanted me. I'm getting $10 million a year. Now I know he's not money driven. I've heard that from a lot of people, but he's been told you're God. Well, guess what? God might think he's a little above things, and what got Mike to the dance with us, and I say dance is us turning it around and getting better, is Mike was so organized and detail oriented and micromanaged what he had to and got everyone to buy in. And this summer, I think we got away from it. I was still hearing about the snub this summer. I thought we were past that. I understand those kids are never going to forget what happened. I never will as a fan, but it's not going to help you get better. They were still talking about it. Everything that you kind of wanted to hear about the offseason, you didn't really hear. It was quiet. Mike's done a good job filtering out the noise as far as offseason mischief. But yeah, Mike's pride is getting in the way. If DJ starts this week, I don't care how bad Brock has looked in practice. I don't care even how Luke has looked in practice. You can't justify it. You just can't. I've seen guys bench for a lot less. Jordan Travis against Notre Dame. Well, he got hurt, I think, and Milton came in. But Milton starting the next week against Jacksonville State was for a lot less. Jordan at least put up some points in that game. So yeah, I'm over it. I'm watching so many transfer portal quarterbacks around the country lead their team to victories and just at least be effective. That's all we needed this year was a quarterback just to be effective. Charlie Ward was benched. Was he? They changed the offense for him. I remember once we went to the the shotgun and everything and let Charlie go, it was a different animal. But maybe I don't think. Yeah, Vince, we'll have to talk about that sometime. Okay, I believe you. I believe you. My offense. Honestly, I thought you're right. 92. You're right, Vince. Yep. But then that was the year of the Georgia Tech game where Mark Richt just scrapped everything and let Charlie go. But Mike off. Man, honestly, I thought it was better at Charles freshman quarterback in the league. We've just been talking about that. But as far as K-Jack, the great, thanks for joining in. Thanks to everyone for joining in. This has been awesome right now. It's therapeutic. I mean, that's the first thing everyone's always going to say, but Kenny's running the same offense as Mike. Kenny has learned, I mean, he was trained by Mike since high school. So I don't think it's like, oh, Mike just went to a different offense when Kenny left. And honestly, 2022 and 2023, especially 22, we saw better play calling after Dillingham left. I think Kenny's got it together this year at Arizona State, so that's why everyone's going to say that. I just hope we don't have a Jimbo Fisher situation on our hand where Mike just doesn't want to give up play calling. that could be a problem, especially if it's not going well. Because Atkins is not a play caller. I don't care what anyone says. He's just OC in title, and in the game he might give suggestions, but he is not saying, "All right, we're going to run X counter, B, Y reverse here." I know he's not, and if I'm wrong, I won't believe it. So Christian Perry, man, another good point. Good teams get ahead early, get young guys in the game, and next season they have experience, and coaches know what a guy does when the bullets fly. CMM has one. Last year we did have a few blowouts. I think of the Wake Forest game. I think of the Syracuse game. I think of a lot of games where I said, finally, even 2022 at the end, it was nice to see Jordan in a ball cap a couple times in the second half, like Georgia Tech. But you're right. You need to, you know what? These kids are enrolling early now. They're there in January. You know by June, excuse me, by August, what they can do, especially between spring football and in the summer, the coaches are allowed more access to the team uh, and working with them, so which they never had before. So between that and fall camp, you know what they can do. Absolutely, especially these kids are coming out much more polished and ready to go now. Um, High school coaching is at a higher level. They're getting more exposure on a national level and stuff that they didn't have in the 90s. I know I keep comparing it to that, but that's when we were really blowing out teams and getting young guys in. And you know what? Yeah, I know Jimbo used to have a lot of his share of blowouts here and there. Actually, no, but he never put his foot on the gas, and he hated taking out starters. It used to drive me nuts when I saw Dalvin in the game late in a game that was already decided to pad his stats. Never understood it. So I don't get it. Um, I all I heard about was Mike's offense when he came here, and this year I've watched it regress every game. You just want to see improvement. I don't get it. I'm not, and you know what? I'm not saying Brock's the answer. I'm really not. But I think the team might respond a little bit to him because something's not clicking with DJ. That's for sure. But if I see one more wide receiver screen, I'm going to go nuts. I mean, this is 2017 all over again with the play calling and the offensive line and the assistant coaches who are getting a little too complacent with the team, and the team I think doesn't respond to those guys anymore for whatever reason. So my buddy Charles Silva in the house, who I go back with 14 years, 15 years watching FSU football with. I'm just worried what we can do. This recruiting class is, you can't even think about it right now. In my opinion, you got to get through this season because you have to show recruits that we can still do something. And if we can win a few games, and a capital I, capital F, because I don't have any wins penciled, at least with some new coaches, that gives like a spark. People don't talk about that. Remember, pretty much almost our whole staff left after the 2012 season, and people were calling that was the worst, that was terrible. Um, and all of a sudden, we got a brand new staff, and that just invigorated life among all of them and the players. So I am a believer in just new blood can change some things. I really am. Uh, Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. Man, Vince, you just said what I've been saying. Get ready to go nuts then. Oh, sorry, Pete. Lagway was in. Yeah, and he's playing fine. And the quarterback for A&M and the quarterback from Georgia. Uh, Freshman, being a true freshman quarterback is not a knock these days. That's like it used to be. Get ready to go nuts. I think we already have as a fan base because we can accept losing, but futility like this is a whole different ballgame. Just being embarrassed and a laughing stock. Uh, CMN gets paid. Yep. Give me $10 million and I am up at the podium apologizing and I'm figuring it out. And there's no way we would have played as bad yesterday if I was given 10 million. Not that I know more than Mike. I think he reminded me of the last couple of games like Urban Meyer. Um uh at the end of his time in Florida, especially when we kicked his ass in Tallahassee, just like pale, a ghost, and had lost it. And Mike has done that a few times, so it scares me. Pete again, Vince and Jeremy. I know Jimbo left on not great terms. No, no. You know what? I understand time heals wounds. I know he's been around the Tallahassee area. You got to understand. Yeah, he is not loved by us, by the administration. And you know what? Not just because of the on-field product at the end, but because of, from what I heard behind the scenes, he just really didn't treat people well there. It's been talked about by a lot of media people. I'm not just speculating. Um, so no, I don't think you bring him back in a GM role. And honestly, the knock on Jimbo at his time with us at the end and at A&M was he was very out of touch with the game a little bit. Um, so I'm not I'm not really looking to get someone who's from the past. I want someone forward thinking who understands college football now. And with Jimbo, he never showed that at A&M that he had adapted. I understand we're not asking him to call plays or run the team X's and O's, but from a GM role, no, not at all. I just don't think it's. I mean, no, because let's see. Talking about the screens. Oh, I mean, poor Jalen Brown yesterday. I mean, he got deheaded on a play that simple. Never came back. We don't even know why. Um, yep, Vince just backed up what I said about Jimbo. Yeah, he's not exactly loved in the office. I understand a lot of the people that he feuded with are gone now, but what kind of message are you sending bringing him back? It's just not. It's not a good idea. And do you really want Jimbo to deal with NIL? I mean, really? I mean, no, I don't trust him with that because the way he wanted a blank check at Florida State of money we didn't have, and the way he just spent like a madman at A&M for nothing. Yeah, I'm good. How incompetent. Yeah, it's Charles. Like, trust me, like it's almost laughable at this point. Like, it's almost like, what are you doing in practice? Like, I don't understand it. They can't even get lined up. They can't. You can't run a simple 10-yard slant. Like, I don't get it. The only time I saw it run this year, it worked. It was against Georgia Tech. Burger and beer joint crew back in the good old days. Yep. Vince, once again, absolutely the way he treated people. Like, yeah, you can't circle back them. If Jimbo had left on good terms, I would always say never, especially being a pro wrestling fan. You always learn never say never. Um, man, Vince, are we thinking alike? Because I was just saying a lot of that stuff. Yeah, I don't want Jimbo and 1980s football being there. And I respect the guy. I understand what he did for us, but how is this moving forward? It's not. That just shows how bad we've been if we're even thinking about that. Pete, but I love that you gave that suggestion, man. Trust me. All I hear on podcasts is how great the team looks. Yeah, the media really was high on that, and this was the first like fall camp. I really didn't follow it every day because I was kind of like, let me just see what we have. Everyone's so high, and the worst excuse I've heard from media members is, well, the NFL scouts love these players. Okay, the NFL scouts, this is where there's a difference. And this is where that comment really upset me, is because the NFL is coming in to look at individual players who can help the team they work for. Not, oh, Florida State as a team looks great. And wow, they're there to see Patrick Payton's measurables and how he looks, or Josh Farmer, or whoever they're looking at, how they can help. They're not looking to say, man, this team all around looks awesome. And look at the culture and look at this coaching staff. Like, they're not. Yeah, they might say this guy looks good or that guy looks good, and maybe we hadn't had that in a few years. But they're there from strictly an individual business standpoint. So the NFL scouts and what they said mean nothing. I understand they said, well, Nick Saban said we look like a top 5 team. He was at practice, what, once for 20 minutes? And guess what? Nick is probably a nice guy and didn't want to say, man, if they did or didn't. He was just being nice about it. So that's where the media lost me on that one. Now, maybe they did look good in the fall camp. Mike seemed to be excited going into the season from what I heard. So I think he was blindsided. I do. But you should have realized after week 1 we got a problem. Didn't see any improvement. Haven't seen any improvement. So at this point, I mentioned it on Vince's podcast, Garnet and Old, that he does with Ryan. They do a great job. Like, They're honest, but they're nice, and you could tell they just got big hearts, the two of them. And I've met Vince in person, actually run into, and they're awesome. Like I've really grown to really just become very fond of them on and off the air. And Vince, I appreciate you chiming in today. Charles, Peter, Christian Perry, everybody. Oh, do I think Peyton stays for another year? Absolutely not. He's going to take his chances in the NFL or go to another school. Absolutely. There's no way he's back in a Florida State uniform. I don't want to say no way. I just don't see it happening because why would he stay? We're losing. He's going to lose his best friend is Josh Farmer. He's going to be gone. Daryl Jackson's gone. We don't have any D tackles that are in the wings to help him. And on the other side, that's a question mark too. You can put him in Georgia. He goes first round, probably. You put him in Ohio State, he goes somewhere, and they'll pay him a boatload. So he's either in the portal or which he did once last year. And so he's either in the portal or the NFL draft. Absolutely. And you know what? People ripped him yesterday. He had a beautiful sack. That spin move reminded me of Peter Boulware off the edge. Not as fast, obviously, but it was awesome. Man, thank you. This has been the best live stream yet. So I want to thank all of you. I will do more of these, and I'm gonna definitely talk to Vince because Vince is like a master with the graphics and that stuff, and I'm gonna bribe him some way to teach me how to do it to make it better. Um, how much fat do we put in? Oh, I'm gonna definitely. You know what, you guys? As long as you guys are here, I'm gonna stay. So there you go. On another, that was what I referred to earlier about Derek Ray, and I put in a ton of stock on that because Josh isn't just an on-3 reporter now. He covered the team for 14 years, 15 years. So he obviously, Vince is the man. All of you are the man here. Coming in on a day like today where there's NFL on and you're listening to me ramble means the world to me. Um, uh, but yeah, back to the Josh Newberg tweet. I put in a ton of stock in it because I was curious about that situation. I met Ray. Spring weekend was impressed, but obviously that doesn't tell. I think there are some politics behind the scenes. I think Mike trusted him a little too much. Yeah, I absolutely do believe it because Newberg is still plugged into Florida State. Um, Charles, you asked what Josh said. He said basically in a tweet, he said Derek Ray and what he did this offseason is like could be the demise for Mike in his time at Florida State, which is saying a lot. He said he mismanaged NIL funds and the transfer portal, and what Derek was ahead of on everybody caught up to him, and he was the big reason we got DJU. But we heard that when DJ was being recruited. DJ said, "Oh, I know Derek Ray. I go back with him from California." I don't know why that was a big surprise. Obviously, Mike had a cosign on that, but we knew that was the relationship that got DJ in the door in the first place, was his relationship with Derek Ray. Yes, we know he liked Norvell and for many reasons, and his dad was upfront about that, but that got you in the door in the first place. Just like it did with Blake Nicholson. I understand. But so that's it for that tweet. And yeah, I do believe it. I don't think Josh writes it if he doesn't mean it. And he's on a national stage now. So what does he have to gain by bashing Florida State? Um, so and that's what that's the problem with NIL right now is we donate to Battles End, we donate to whatever collective, and obviously we're doing it to help the program, and we know they have done good things, but we don't know exactly how it's being spent. We have no accounting of it. If I give $20 a month, I don't know if it went to this player or that player or how much they spent. We're hearing rumors of how much, but we don't know what it's going to. I mean, how many times would you invest in a company where you have no idea what their bankroll is or what their booking is or what their trajectory is? You wouldn't. Battles in, we tend to do that. So that's something that makes me say, well, what's going on there? And every team is doing that. I get it. We need a modern day Brewster and Coley. I get it, but that's like 2010, 2014. We need young blood. That was something Jimbo did a great job when he took over, was getting the young guys, a Coley, Damian Craig. I know I'm missing somebody. DJ Elliott. Like he was getting young guys. Stoops was a young up and comer in a way. That's what I want. I want young blood, just like Mike was. And I gotta imagine Mike has a list of people. Back. Okay, sorry. Yeah, okay, a modern day, but a younger version. And I'm not saying older people can't get the job done, but we need an injection of youth in this team because they are acting like they're coached by older people who aren't as with it as they used to be. Um, Absolutely. That was something, Panama Jack. That's something that we all thought in the offseason. Oh, with Mike's coaching and DJ was a different player at Oregon State than he was at Clemson. Yeah, DJ's got no help. And you know what? If I told anybody that our starting tackles would be out for a few games, you would have had a different assessment of what this team could be. So, absolutely, DJ hasn't gotten help. There are times he gets the ball and he's sacked in a second. Um, Jordan, you know what? Basically, I really think we were complacent a lot in coaching last year, and we had so much talent that just overcame that. And now, when we have to be a little more innovative and creative, coaches aren't doing that. So that's what I think too. So yeah, Mike has done DJ no favors. It's not all on DJ. Um, DJ was brought in just to be the guy to just kind of lead the team. Our running game was supposed to be good, and DJ just do his part. He wasn't supposed to be the sole reason we win or lose, which is what has happened. And obviously, he's just not up to that task. Anybody's got any questions or just all my opinions? Trust me, I don't know any more than you guys. But it's just time to be brutally honest about this team and where we're going and what we want to see. Sad part is I won't even get to watch the game this week. As of now, I'm going to be at a Creed concert that I booked 10 months ago, not because we're bad. And so I'll commiserate with some Tallahassee guys, Creed. This was Bud Elliott. Oh, said DJ had better skill position players than FSU. Well, yeah, look what he had at Clemson. He has some studs at wide receiver there. DJ got tripped up at Clemson because of poor coaching there. I know he's getting that again, but Dabo never upgraded his staff after Tony Elliott and Jeff Scott. Jeff Scott? Or Brad Scott's son. Yeah, Jeff Scott left. Where have we seen that before? So DJ didn't got poor coaching. Jonathan Smith, one of the best X's and O's guys, Michigan State now, did a wonderful job with DJ. I would have imagined Mike talked to the guy and said what was good for him, what was not good for him. But man, I think Mike really just had a different assumption of DJ. DJ can rip it. And I was excited with DJ going into the year because I said the guys Mike has had a ton of success with before Jordan was true pocket passers who can sling it. He did that at Memphis. So I said, DJ is that type of guy. I said, it's kind of a great fit. I can see why Mike wanted him. I can see why DJ wanted Mike. Been the opposite. I think college football now, you got to have some mobility or you're in trouble unless you're just one of those rare types that just is so good. Better plays at Oregon State. Well, definitely running back with Martinez and definitely scheming. Yeah, absolutely. I watched DJ play that Colorado game last year, and I loved watching him outduel Shedeur and play much better than him. That's why I did not think it was a bad pickup when we got him. It's so easy to say now, oh, we screwed up getting him. We never should have got him. At the time, no one said that. You weren't getting Cam Ward. Cam Ward had declared for the NFL, and when he decided to come back, it was too late. Thank you, Pete. I appreciate that. Oh, yeah. This is we have entered now the end of the Jimbo years, the Taggart years. And now with the transfer portal, it's even worse because we can't just say, well, we got this guy for next year because nothing's – it's going to be – yeah, we ride with the nose, man. Win or lose, we wouldn't be here if we didn't. You'll never hear me say I'm not going to watch the game out of pity and wallow for this team. I just can't next week. But I'm not going to lie. Creed will be playing higher or with arms wide open, and I'll have my phone checking the drive charts and the game summary. I know I will be. My friend has already texted me saying, I know you're going to be doing two things at once. So that's the truth. You know what? This offseason is going to dictate how long Mike is with us. Because I don't think Mike is going to want to stay if it's this bad after a while. He might take another job. And I was telling a friend today, and I stand behind this statement. if you're of the belief that, man, if Mike had left for Alabama last year and we get Lane Kiffin, this thing is smooth sailing. And it could have been with Lane. Who knows? Because Lane understands NIL and the portal and all that stuff better than anyone right now. And recruiting, he's as good as anyone. Who's to say Lane stays after this year and doesn't go to Florida if that job opens up and uses the whole, well, they're in the SEC and I have deeper pockets there, let's just say. He's done it before. He left from Tennessee to USC. I understand he's a different person now a little bit. He's sober. He's made up for a lot of his mistakes in the past. I don't think he would have. I would have put it past him to leave after 1 year or make Florida State give him some ridiculous contract. So, yes, he wanted to stay and come back to the state of Florida. Yes, he accepted the Florida State job. We know that. I would not be shocked if he had left us after 1 year, regardless of the record, to go to Florida, especially since we're still in flux about our conference situation. If Lane had some clarity on that, where he knew, okay, next year, the year after, we're definitely in the Big Ten or SEC. But if this lawsuit drags out, and I'm sure Mike got assurances too, Lane would have left to go to Florida. I'm at that point now. I believe that even more. So, thank you. I just felt like saying that. Man, it's just been the longest talk I've ever had on this. Side note, Chris from Perry, I feel for business in Tallahassee. They bank on home games, bringing the people in cash flow. Sucks that some get paid regardless and the rest eat it. You know what? I'm with you. The only people I don't feel bad for are the hotels that rip people off. I hope you get what you deserve there, because 400 something a night for a room in Tallahassee is ridiculous. I understand we're at the mercy a little bit there because we don't have a big city within an hour, 2 hours away for fans to just stay and commute for the game like they do in Gainesville or other cities. But yeah, I feel for those. That's why I was so happy with the game in Dublin. First and foremost, not just thanks, Pete. I was so happy that it was Georgia Tech giving up a home game because, all right, it's Atlanta, they're fine. But that Tallahassee didn't get caught. We didn't, have to give up a home game and the fans there lose it. That's why I felt bad for the Orlando and New Orleans stuff for LSU. That would have been a monster game for the home for the local businesses who deserve it so much. Tallahassee businesses work their tail off. They give you great quality on everything. I mean, I live in South Florida, and like, besides going back to Florida State, obviously, and going to a game there, when I'm in Tallahassee and seeing good people like you guys, man, it's the food there. It's awesome. It's better than down here lately. So they deserve it. So I hope people still go to games here. I mean, and then you're asking people to go to Cal 3 in a row at home. It's going to be a rough one. Hotel's good point, Jay. Thanks, Pete. I appreciate that. Worth 3 hours there, 3 hours back. Chris, you're a diehard. Oh, 3 hours round trip from Perry. Yeah, I would do the same thing. If I lived that close, I'd be at pretty much every home game. But 6-7 hours, I can't justify it. Yeah, I can't. And you guys, man, I'm gonna throw us out there. I have some ideas for the channel. One thing about this channel that I really pushed was that I wanted to be diverse. And yeah, it's the Rock and Roll channel, and Florida State comes first and foremost. But I want to do other things that are different and give you guys different looks as far as in my travel vlog. So I have some ideas of other things I want to do. But what am I trying to say? But if people are really offended by it, like me going to other games, let me know, because at the end of the day, it's a partnership. Cal looks strong. Yeah, they do. They got a quarterback who can sit in the pocket and throw it. He obviously wasn't rattled against Auburn on the road, tough road environment, and they have linebackers that can come up and stick it to you. So great. We have a quarterback that might not be able to move and a running game that's diverse is good. Thank you, Pete. And that's my big thing with this channel was you got so many great Florida State YouTube channels like Vince's channel and so many others, man. I want to give people different looks on things. So thank you, Pete. I appreciate that, man. I'll keep you guys in the loop on that stuff. And yeah, so if we are somehow a favorite this week, I've given up on betting odds for Las Vegas. We have lost 3 weeks in a row, or 3 out of 4, whatever you want to call it, as a favorite. And I didn't understand all week how we were favored against Memphis. So this week, yes, we're going to be underdogs, or I've given up. I don't really bet that much, but yeah, oof. This was supposed to be the part of the schedule that was manageable before it got really tricky. So great. Um, Oof. Anybody have anything else they want to add? I'll probably sign off and let you guys enjoy the rest of your day, so you don't have to hear me ramble. But man, this has been awesome, better than I can imagine. Thank you all for the support. Um, if there's anything I missed, add it in the comments later. I get back to it and I'll answer it. And anything, from your viewpoint, I want to hear your viewpoint as well, because I don't know everything, that's for sure. And when I do a travel vlog, while I got you guys here, man, if there's certain things when I visit the colleges and see the game day experience, there's certain things that you look for in particular. Please let me know so I can try to make a point to get that done on the trip. Thanks, Christian Perry. You were awesome, man. I appreciate it. Charles, thank you, buddy. I can always count on your support. Pete, thank you. Tua wants to come back. You know what? That's between him, the doctors, and his family, because I don't know. Who am I to say to him? Yeah, I mean, it wasn't even that bad a hit the other night, and you saw what it did to him. So, man, I feel for Tua. Not for his contract situation, but for what he's been through with this team and playing football. Hey, but guys, I'm going to sign off. And like I said, thank you. If there's anything I can do as far as in the vlogs or in the live stream to add interest, I'm going to talk to Charles. I saw that. And now I don't mind this. I don't, Vaughn, no, we're not quite there yet, but I get the frustration, trust me. It's put up or shut up for him the rest of the year, that's for sure. Yeah, that's a joke from Hangover, not NC State. Hey, but guys, thank you, man. I really want to grow this thing now. And, this was the first time I put it out on Facebook and on Twitter that I was going to go live. I usually just did it to try to do something. So thank you, guys. I appreciate it. And let me know if you have any questions or just anything you want to share with me. I love interacting with you guys. Talk to you later. Go Knowles. We climb up that mountain or we climb over a cliff. Either way, go Knowles all the time. Take care, everyone.